Big fluff.
Hey, no touching!
I'm so proud of you. You should see it out there. They're all going crazy for you. You did it.
I don't know. Maybe I should read a law book or something. Even though I never went to high school.
I said no touching.
You can do anything you want. You're Joker.
Hey everybody, I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Andy McIntyre.
And this is Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And not any other podcast on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.
Nope.
I promise. But it may seem similar to a podcast on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network because we have as a guest the one, the only, Lars Periwinkle.
Hello, boys.
How's it going?
You sons of bitches. You made me go see it. I wasn't going to go see it. I thought this is a made-up movie. No one should be watching this expected piece of crap. But there I was, in the movie theater, alone, save for one other person who was snoring most of the time. And I'm thinking, I didn't have to be friends with Joel Murphy all these years. We could have stopped being friends at any point in the llast 25 years. It could have happened, but here I am.
First of all, I think it's rude to sell out the fact that Julia was snoring during the movie. And two, it was not unlike your classic, like you were our wheelman and you were working as a short order cook and I walked into your restaurant and you gave me a "you son of a bitch, I'm in." So I did recruit you for one last job of watching a terrible
Lars
Joker
is
movie.
Matt Guitar Murphy. I'm Elwood. Joel is Jake. This is the Blues Brothers. Let's go.
Thank you for making me Jake. Appreciate that.
The fucking soup is $10.
4 fried chickens and a Coke.
What a... And no, of course it wasn't Julia. It's fair to assume that anyone who marries me has bad taste, but her taste is not that fucking bad that she's going to make the trek to go see whatever the fuck we saw.
All right,
So we haven't said the title of the movie yet.
Mhm.
It is Joker Folie à Deux, the sequel to Joker.
yes.
And more than half of the people that saw the movie in our 3 respective screenings are on the podcast right now.
No, that is legit. I sent you guys a photo because when I walked into my theater, it was empty. I did have one family of 3 people show up right before the movie started. So I was 25% of my theater.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Andy, how about you?
Mine, it was myself, my friend Sean that came with me, and that's it.
Yeah, it's doing great. It's definitely not getting absolutely smashed by Terrifier 3, which cost like 1/10 of the budget of this movie and also has a clown in it.
Yep.
But yeah, this is one of our...
I actually, someone who I used to work with worked at the movie theater. And so she and I were catching up a bit. And then when she asked me what movie I was going to see, I told her and she said, "Oh, I loved it." And I said, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. And she said, I've watched the first one like 30 times. I loved the second one. I thought it was really great. I don't know why people don't like it. And so leaving the movie theater through the lobby, man with the quickness did I try to sneak out that door because I was like, I didn't want to be rude, but like my opinion shouldn't be rude, right? It's just my opinion. Who the fuck am I? But she did catch me. She said, "What did you think?" And all I could say is like, as I quickly shuffled through the door was not my flavor. That's all.
Yeah.
That's,
and
I think,
and what else are you supposed to say? Like you want to say, why the fuck did you like that?
So that's showing more tact than I thought you capable of, Lars. Good on you.
Hey, thank you. What the hell was that?
I expect you to have a full-on argument about the lack of merit of this movie, in quotation marks, that we all watched.
It was $200 million.
Lars, I'm just excited that you used to work with Lady Gaga. That's really exciting. And I didn't know she was working at a movie theater now, but...
Yeah. I'm one of the twinks in her music videos.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that I wish you had interrogated this person a little bit more, because I did have the question. Apparently the answer is her, but of like who this movie is for. I was definitely unclear about that. And because I don't think it's for people who liked the first one necessarily, because it in a lot of ways tries to distance itself from some of the things, the reaction to the first one. But then it also, I don't think is for people who didn't like the first one either.
So I'll start with my scorching hot take. I hated this less than I hated Joker.
Ooh.
But I still hated it.
Okay.
But I hated it less.
I think it's
Because
worse.
This was so dumb and silly that I was like, okay, I can do this. It wasn't a shitty remake of Mean Streets, King of Comedy, and all the other terrible great movies that Todd Phillips ripped off in Joker, with all of the subtlety of the Zucker brothers.
Yeah, he just kind of like, I mean, literally the plot of the movie is we're going to relitigate the first movie. Like literally, like
yeah.
Point to point, relitigate the entire movie, lawyers and all. And when someone asks, how do you expand on that? You don't. It doesn't. That's all they do the entire time is talk about what happened before. The trial is what happened before. Everything is what happened in the first movie. It might as well have been like, you know, the Hobo Radio podcast where we talked about the first Joker movie, because that's what the movie was.
Yeah. Oh no, this movie is terrible, unnecessary, and shouldn't exist. But I stand by my statement. I hated it less.
It is. I think that Lars is right that it kind of feels like a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation where Todd Phillips sat us all down and explained to us point by point how we misunderstood the first one. That is definitely the vibe of this movie. But also they're singing for some reason.
And the crazy part is, by and large, our accurate opinion of the first one, that it is dumb and bad trash, is the minority opinion by a significant margin for Joker.
Yeah.
So I don't know who he was arguing with. Both people that disliked it, all, you know, like the 4% of the audience that hated it. I don't know. Like, why?
It does feel like he listened to that Hobo Radio
I know,
episode.
right? Like what's the point? Because so the first movie, it gets the Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival. It wins Oscars. It makes $1 billion. And with the second one, he gets a budget that's 5 times what the first movie was. And what he does with this is say, fuck you, you didn't understand my movie. But why?
Well, I mean, he's been imploding Todd Phillips could have probably won an actual, like, I know that it won the score Oscar, and did it win another
Best Actor?
And it won Best Actor.
It might have won editing too. It won like some technical or artistic award.
But he had a real shot at least like being nominated for Best Picture and possibly winning. And Todd Phillips talked his way out of like awards buzz. I've never seen someone implode in quite the way he did, where he had this really adversarial approach to award season, and he was getting into fights with people then, and he was complaining about how people were too woke and how he had to stop doing comedy because the PC police like made it impossible to do hangover movies anymore or whatever. Like, it was a really weird time, the build up, where people, Andy, you're absolutely right. People liked the movie. People wanted to vote for the movie, and he was so annoying that he ruined it.
I think they call tanking your Oscar buzz roarking.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's what that is.
Or maybe he's the Joker. Maybe Todd Phillips is the real Joker.
No one's the Joker. He never said the Joker. He just says Joker.
Okay. This is like the Batman in reverse all over again.
Jesus.
Yeah, this movie sucked. Like we need to just put a point on that. But I did hate it less.
Lars, did
Because
you
it
hate it
was
less?
silly.
I hated it less.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Which isn't, I mean, that's like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about who's the tallest leprechaun, right? Because like I did hate it less, but I also bought into it less. So there were like 2 or 3, I'll call them vignettes in the first one, because that's what it was, a series of vignettes. There was no through line in that first movie, really. And
Compared to
a
the
couple
incredibly
of them,
strong through line in this one.
yeah, the through line of remember that first movie. So I bought it. I bought into the first movie a couple of times of like, I see, this is okay. This is something. This might be kind of cool. I don't know, but who cares at this point? This one, yeah, I think I hated it less. I enjoyed neither of them at all. But this one, I felt a little less antagonized as I was going to say watching, but sitting through it.
Joel, what about you? Did you hate it less?
$200 million he got.
You know what? Like, I think, yeah, it's an easier watch, right? Like, it's easier from start to finish to watch this one, but it's also a less interesting watch where I think I think that maybe this is kind of what Lars said, but like, I just felt more connected to the first one. So I had more reactions, positive and negative to it. I thought there were scenes in the first one that worked and there were moments that I thought were interesting. I don't really think anything works in this one. Like, I don't really think anything connected very well. So I just, yeah, like I felt checked out from it. Like I felt emotionally numb this time around.
I mean, yeah, I think that is accurate. This movie was, I don't know, I had an easier time watching it because I wanted to like the original Joker. I expected to like the first one. But man, I hated that movie. Like, despised that movie. To the point that other than a good performance from Joaquin Phoenix, I think this movie might have more silver linings.
Oh, yeah, I think it does. Yeah, because what annoyed me about the first one was that it was called Joker, because I sat there and naively, as a fan of Batman comics my entire life, tried to make sense of how it connected to Batman mythology. And that was a mistake because it didn't until the end when it hilariously did. And that was probably my favorite part, not because it was good, because they shot Bruce Wayne's parents again. And that's hilarious to me that they bothered to do it. But
yes,
but I will on that tip. Okay, can we have a nerd moment here? Like about Batman?
On a movie
Not.
podcast?
I'm not. No, I am not
What?
participating in this.
Okay. Well, Lars, you can sit in the corner because I needed to address this, and I can't believe I've let almost 15 minutes of the episode go by without talking about this. Blackgate is the prison. Arkham is the asylum. They're separate places, and I don't understand what Arkham Prison is or how Harley Quinn can voluntarily check herself into it. Thank you. I see the rest of my time.
and those are all the flaws in the movie.
No, but can we just...
No, you're right.
Yeah. What is Arkham Prison and how does one voluntarily join its music program?
Well, first it's Leigh Quinn.
Okay,
Leigh
sure.
Quinzel, right?
Yeah.
But she was Harley.
Yeah, because
but she went
Harley is
by
a
Leigh.
ridiculous name. Yeah. I'm with you. When I heard that it was not Arkham Asylum, but Arkham, was it prison or penitentiary?
Whichever.
The whole thing was muddled. I had bigger problems going on at that point of like, why is the star of this movie cigarettes? And why was it not listed in the credits?
I swear, I think that Todd Phillips feels about cigarettes the way Quentin Tarantino feels about feet.
He has sex with cigarettes?
I think he has sex with cigarettes.
Can I also look, I'm not done with this. So Harley Quinn in the comics is a doctor, honey, a doctor. And we took away her doctorate and we made a storyline where she voluntarily committed herself to a not asylum prison. But why? Because all of that was more work than having her be the doctor that was in charge of the music program that then falls in love with him, which is what happens in every other version. Like, why take away her doctorate and make her a patient when that doesn't make any sense? Because he's on trial to try to decide if he's crazy, meaning he's not in an asylum yet. He's in a prison. And the only way to get her into a prison would have been to keep her as a doctor and have her run the music program, which is the easy layup that they worked their way out of.
You know why, Joel?
Why?
Because everybody's too woke, thinking that women can be doctors. They need to get back to the basics and understand that there's a place in the back line of the chorus at the prison.
Okay, well, I didn't realize I was on an episode. I didn't realize we were doing an episode of Mackin' with Andy Mac right now, so. But I sadly think
your way is better, objectively.
I think you might be
I'm
right.
though.
Yeah, I think you actually are right. I think that might be why they did it. She can't be a doctor.
Women doctors. What's next? Women motorists? Women voters?
It's also, again, I mean, a lot of this feels pointless because none of the movie is good. But there is something really weird and really insidious about, not only did they do that, they took away, she's not a doctor anymore. She doesn't work in Arkham. Like, because that's the whole thing. She was the doctor assigned to Joker and he manipulates her and she falls in love with him. She helps him escape and they work together. They changed that. But they also insanely in this movie, they don't just change it. They make her Lady Macbeth. And she's like the one corrupting him and like leading him down this dark path, which is, again, very like just, I don't know, kind of like weirdly insidious, but also the whole movie's too dumb to care too much about it. But it's certainly a choice.
Well, and like just one of the more infuriating things about this movie is how it just bails on itself after the explosion or even leading up to it. Like Arthur Fleck shows remorse and feels bad about being Joker. Like I watched 2 movies for you to do that.
Well, the entire first movie is getting him to the point of that he is Joker. It's a slow build to make it happen. And then the second movie spends the whole time walking it back.
I hate them both.
I kind of liked his Arthur Fleckness in this movie a lot more than the first one. Obviously, the character is experiencing very different circumstances. But I liked that work he was doing a hell of a lot more. I liked the business inside the prison and kind of when he seemed, for lack of a better word, like kind of neutered or demure in the courtroom. And his Joker shit did not work for 1 second for me. Anytime he was Joker, I was out completely. Like not even close. Can't buy in. I wasn't born with the gene that would allow me to accept whatever the fuck foghorn leghorn crap you're doing on the screen right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really strange. And like, the musical thing, I think really hurts him because obviously Lady Gaga can really
talk about the damn music yet. Shit.
But like, obviously Lady Gaga can really carry singing. Like anytime she was asked to sing, she's good, but he's not a strong singer. And most of the time he was Joker, he was also supposed to sing, which made it even less effective because then he seemed like a really unconfident singer when he's supposed to be at his like cockiest and most joie de vivre, to use another unnecessary like folie à deux.
Yeah, that's like the first movie played with the unreliable narrator to some decent effect. Like there's the run where he's like having the fantasy with Zazie Beetz, and then it reveals that it wasn't actually real. And like that was pretty effective in the first Joker movie. This movie can't decide, in an even dumber way, can't decide what's real and what isn't. Because like, is he singing these songs badly so people can see them? Are they hallucinations that are happening in his head? Like the movie didn't decide.
No. Yeah.
Like, are they happening at all? Are they happening at none? Like, what is it? And it didn't decide. And that's a poor choice.
Right. And he's in a music program. So some of the singing seems like it should be real. But yeah, I completely, like, I went in thinking it was going to be, yeah, like those were the fantasy breaks. Like anytime he lost touch with reality, he sang. But no, he seemed to really be singing a lot of the time, and he seemed to really sing on camera in front of the entire world during his trial. Like that seemed like that actually happened.
I guess I think that's what happened, but I'm not sure.
No,
like I know that he wasn't on a 70s variety show.
Right.
Like I know that wasn't imaginary, but I don't know. Like, did he actually act like he was the only one that could see it, or did it just happen completely in his head? And that the movie should have made a decision about that, and it didn't.
Yes. I do want to talk about something else because I did read some reviews before I saw it. And one thing that I saw a lot of people talk about, and as they didn't like it, was a lot of people said that they went in thinking that Lady Gaga was going to be a big part of it. And then they didn't think that she was used very much. And when I watched it, I felt like I was like watching a different movie than a lot of the reviewers, because I feel like she's in this movie a lot. Like she has a lot of screen time. I don't think she's used well, but I don't think anyone's used well. But like, I found that weird that people were like, they really underuse her. And I'm like, she has almost as much screen time as he does. The movie's not well written. You know, but I thought that there was a criticism I heard about it a lot, was that like they made it sound like she didn't, like they cut, because I read that they like cut a lot of scenes with her in it. And I'm like, she's in almost every scene, you know.
God, please let there not be a campaign to release the Todd Phillips cut of this movie.
I am sad. The one thing I know that they cut, because I remember it from the trailer that it was not in the movie, was when they both dance on the steps. Side by side.
The double kick. That's the only thing I wanted to see. Where's the double kick?
Release the double kick. Look, you don't need a whole cut, but release the double kick scene. We all want it.
Just 100%. Give us that bonus feature.
Yeah, don't score it to
and
Gary
it wasn't
Glitter
that she was
this time, maybe.
She wasn't underutilized. She was underwritten. The character wasn't there. But also she seemed to be able to do anything she wanted, anytime she wanted to do it. So it was like, he got put into isolation. Cool. Well, I'm going to go in there and fuck him, and he's going to be really bad at it. All right.
Wait, that was bad at it?
Look, I said he was bad at. I didn't say he prematurely ejaculated, because that is a myth that doesn't exist. That happens when it's supposed to happen. I just don't think he was very good at it. And then, she had, I scribbled down some notes in the theater because I didn't, I knew I wasn't going to remember everything. Two things that I definitely wrote down were, she had an attempted suicide that turned out to just be a haircut, and a pregnancy that turned out to be nothing. So, like, you kept trying to make her a character, but she did nothing.
But is she pregnant at the end? Now you're making me question it. I thought she was pregnant, but I agree that they don't do anything.
She said she was pregnant, and then there was nothing more said about it. Like, it was she could have been, in that universe. I guess she could be pregnant, but unless you address it again, then what is it? It's nothing.
Well, and I do want to talk about, I guess this is as good a place as any to talk about the ending of the movie, because why not? Because I thought when she was pregnant, I still had this like, okay, so is their kid Joker, like the Joker that we know? Is that what we're implying? Because again, I've never really understood how like a 60-year-old man in a world with a 10-year-old boy is going, like, if we're supposed to, like, Batman is not old enough to fight this Joker, and this Joker is old and frail. So I could see their kid, that math kind of works. If he was younger than Batman, could be Joker, I guess. So I was like, maybe they're doing that. But then we get the ending of the movie where they almost did something really interesting that I was kind of into, and I thought we were leading up to it. I thought that Leigh was going to kill him on the steps. Like, I don't know if you guys thought that, but like their last scene together, she kind of breaks up with them. And I thought she was going to kill him. And I was like, I'm totally into this. Kill him. I would have been into it in the first 5 minutes as well. But I was definitely into it. At the end, they don't. She just breaks up with him. The cops arrest him. He goes back to prison, and guy who was in a couple of scenes that he kissed on the lips then shivs him and seemingly becomes Heath Ledger's Joker, if I understood the scene correctly, because he stabs him and then
he caught Joker from the Joker.
Yeah, he gives himself scars in the background out of focus while Heath Ledger is dying in the foreground. So,
well, maybe I'm wrong, but here was my assumption, because they did look kind of similar. I thought the young man that he kissed in the first act of the movie was the one that got murdered by the guards the night that they beat the shit out
well,
of
then
him
who killed him at the end? Then
it was just a guy that was in the background.
There was a random guy
doing the Kubrick stare for the whole movie.
Oh, I thought it was the same guy. I paid attention to this movie. I thought it was supposed to be the guy that he kissed on the lips. So
that would have made sense.
They are very similar looking.
Yeah.
They're both very nondescript white guys. One had dark hair and one had lighter hair. And the lighter hair one is the one that killed him and then slashed his face.
Well, and I also, because I remember the scene that Lars is talking about, because he dies kind of off camera, doesn't he, in the shower? Because they're like choking him. So then I watched that scene, but I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't die. Like, I thought he lived, and then
no, he
says
100% dies off camera. Yeah, exactly. Because at that point, Arthur is in his cell, and you hear him off camera getting the shit beat out of him, and then I think Brendan Gleeson is choking the life out of him, and then you hear, he's gone, and that was the end of him.
All right.
And I guess that's when Arthur decided, I'm not the Joker anymore. But then he goes to the court as Joker, which I wrote down 3 things. Yeah. I wrote down 3 things, and 2 of them were about Harley. The one about the Joker is apparently in the courtroom there are Air Bud rules where it's like, well, it doesn't say he can't dress up like the Joker. So I guess he gets to dress up like the Joker.
Well, look, I wasn't able to track the 2 generic white guys that looked exactly the same, but I did track that because the judge does literally, I think, wave his hand at the camera and go like, I looked up case files and I guess I guess you can be Joker, apparently. Why not?
Now I'm just a big city lawyer. But I went ahead and looked up these case files.
I typed in clown into the internet, and there's nothing that says you can't be a clown lawyer. So,
Christ almighty.
I'm so glad we've dragged Catherine Keener into this, though. Like, that was a good use of her time.
Are you?
It's a good use of her time. For sure, we needed her in this movie as lawyer who's fired.
I didn't even know she was in the damn movie.
How are you any advertisement?
You're Catherine Keener.
Yeah.
No, not even close.
I think she
not
may have
close.
said,
I feel like
don't put me in any of the ads. Let me be an Easter egg for those eagle-eyed fans.
Am I betraying the entire premise of your podcast now? Because I'm trying. I was really looking for a silver lining.
We'll get there. We haven't pivoted yet. You can say whatever you want. Well, I'll allow it, counselor.
Word.
There's nothing that says you can't be a clown lawyer who hated this movie.
Also, like, there was... I think everyone was underutilized in this movie. And I think we talked about almost all of them, but Brendan Gleeson, I could not figure out what he was doing. I think that part was written as being like almost more random than Arthur Fleck. He's just going through these bouts of like
is he
anger,
Hadley from Shawshank,
calm.
or is he a nice guy? Like, which one?
Boom.
Pick a lane.
This is
Brendan
exactly what I'm
Gleeson.
talking about. Yeah, exactly. Where are we going? I guess I find him physically intimidating, but is he a bad guy, or is he trying to be good? Is he setting boundaries? I have no clue. And then he murders that kid.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I was very jarred by that because he was kind of cool up until then. He was the one who was like, I'm going to take you to music class. And then he was like, nope. And also he gets really mad at Arthur for like the most benign, like, these guards are clown. Like, I forget, he's like, these guards suck, or whatever, in his TV interview. And then that's like, that breaks their heart. Like,
That snaps him, yeah.
It snaps him. All he said was like, they're dumb and fat. And then when he gets back there, they strip him naked and beat him in the shower. Like I just said, you're objectively overweight.
Right.
And then, okay, I said you were dumb. Sorry? No, we're going to beat you within an inch of your life and then murder this kid.
So when that explosion happened, he's a foot from the door, like from the like blast radius of the explosion. And it levels him.
Mm-hmm.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but Arthur Fleck weighs 75 pounds and is famously frail. And he takes the full blast of an explosion and he walks out of that courtroom. Fine.
He gets up and walks out. He had a little trouble hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the extent of his injuries. Meanwhile, Harvey
Now,
Dent,
if it pleases
who
the
is-
court,
I don't know who.
Clown lawyers can survive explosions.
Well, I say, could you speak up? I got a little bit of ringing.
But anyways, Lars,
but
you were
Harvey
actually
Dent,
making a
I don't
salient
know.
point.
I'm not familiar with that actor, but I think he did a terrific job of sounding like an 80s douchebag.
Mhm.
But it looks like why even show it? Like, look, half of Harvey Dent's face looks jacked up. Why are you showing me that?
Oh,
We're so beyond this being related to anything Batman-y. And now it's, but Harvey Dent, here's the origin. Why? What are you doing this for? You obviously hate Batman.
I think it was just V Dent.
And in this one, he never went to law school. He just lied his way.
paralegal.
He's a paralegal who lied his way into doing this trial. Are we ready to pivot?
I mean, we'll never actually be ready, but I think we have to.
Okay, well, if we're officially pivoting, the part where Harvey Dent became Two-Face, my favorite part of the whole movie. Like, I'm not even kidding, because it's so stupid. It was so stupid, and it made me so happy. Like, because
11 years before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman.
his canonical best friend, Harvey Dent, is like way older than him.
Now I want to see how the already scarred Harvey Dent becomes best friends with a 20-something when he's 40.
I'm so sad that this movie didn't do well enough to make a $40 million sequel to the sequel that is, I don't know, like a Shakespearean drama where in the last 5 minutes, Selena Kyle falls off a building and is licked by cats. Just to set that up for no reason. It's my favorite part of these movies that the last 10 minutes have to set up
They
a thing
cram
from
in an
Batman
origin story
for no reason. Because I'm not kidding. When the first one, when Bruce Wayne's parents went down crime alley, my brain lit up in such a specific way that I was like, do it. Come on, kill his parents. And so that made me happy. So when Harvey Dent showed up and his face was fine, it was Chekhov's scarred face, where I just watched this entire movie like, what's gonna happen? Who's throwing acid? Because I was just waiting. Someone's throwing acid in his face. There's an explosion somewhere. Do it. And when the bomb went off and they cut to him, it was actually sincerely the most joy I had watching this movie. I'm not kidding.
That's fair and valid.
I love the idea
I'm
of
on
you
board
in an
with that.
MRI machine and that part of your brain lights up the same way where they show like a 7-year-old an iPad.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, it's like they're addicted to cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
His Batman center's lighting up.
My cocaine is unnecessary origin stories for Batman characters in Todd Phillips films. 100%. I love it so much.
Oh no, that made me stupidly happy because it was so effing dumb.
It was great.
I'm with you 100%.
It was great.
Yeah.
Look, I'll also say Lady Gaga is good in this movie. Like I
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I think was a really good choice that she did very effectively when she was like singing in the quote unquote real world, she sang poorly and then sang like Lady Gaga in the actual like cutscenes. And that was a really good acting choice.
Yeah, and I thought she did
very effective.
Yeah, and I thought she did a good job of being like that 70s variety show couple, like Sonny and Cher kind of vibes. Like I thought she really I knew what she was doing. I'm with Lars that I'm like, when Joaquin Phoenix was Joker this time, I'm like, I don't really know. Well, this isn't working at all. But like when she was dancing and doing banter with the crowd, I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're Cher. Like this makes total sense to me. I have issues with the character because I like the character of Harley Quinn a lot, but I think she did a good job in the movie and I liked her performance. And I think she's innocent in the trial of this movie. 100%.
Well, I'm just a regular clown lawyer, so I don't know if I can allow that. I didn't ask for a plea deal.
My second,
I agree 100% with that.
My second favorite character, the guy from the first movie, that is the little person who
Puddles.
Yeah, who kept being like, stop it, stop doing this. Like, because I felt like he spoke for me, the audience, when he was pleading with Arthur to stop doing it. And I really related to him where he's like, no, come on, man, no. Why? Don't do it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him. In the
I
first
think
one.
he and Catherine Keener were the only two believable characters in the entire movie. Not that they also should be I don't fucking know what they're trying to do here. But no, I don't know who that actor is, but Gary Puddles fucking destroyed it. Like I bought into him immediately. I think he nailed it. It really was just like, well, first of all, the judge says, I don't want this turning into a circus. And you have a man dressed as a clown yelling at a little person who is weeping. So I don't get control of your courtroom. But also like he destroyed,
Lars, what circuses
absolutely
did you go
laid
to
waste.
as a child?
They were in Southern Maryland and they were harsh.
Yes.
And Joel knows they were in town. They were in town.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's how Lars and I, when we were young and we were friends, we used to go to the Crying Circus all the time. Like, yeah, it was the best thing. That and waiting it was that until you would wait for Queen Nicotina to be crowned at the county fair.
Nicotina.
One of those is real.
One of those is real. It's the circus.
Yeah.
It's the Crying Circus.
But no, he was great. He was like on the stand weeping. What I had to witness you do the most horrible thing I've ever seen any person do to another person. I can't sleep at night. Please stop whatever you're doing. You're awful. And that's what I've been thinking about for 4 hours of Joker movies at this point. Please stop.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, all of that. Like, yeah, he's good. And I agree with you about Catherine Keener too, where she tried, and I really did think it was kind of moving and had a credibility to it when she was pleading with Arthur to stop doing it and to not fire her and all of that. Like you very much got the vibe like this person is the only person in this movie actually trying to help him. And I guess Puddles too, but like, yeah, she is looking out for him. He doesn't see it, and she knows it's going to end tragically.
Because she also knew that he wasn't going to be found innocent by any stretch of the imagination. That the best case scenario is that he's found guilty by reason of insanity.
Well, he shot a guy on TV. They talk about it a lot in the movie, but like there's not really much to discuss. Like there is videotape of him executing a man. So like there wasn't really a lot. Like insanity or guilty are really the only options.
Right. Yeah, this why was it a musical?
I found that really baffling, and all the song choices were weird. And look, like, for real, me and Lars actually met doing theater in high school, and we both have done a number of musicals together. There was no logic to when people sang, why people sang. Normally musicals, the musical part is like expressing emotions that couldn't otherwise be expressed by the characters. It's this way like to kind of, you know, have this moment with the crowd, like with the audience, to connect with them and to like break out and do this thing. People just sang in this randomly, seemingly.
Yeah, no, it was apropos of nothing. It wasn't like isolating the theme of each scene, because that's typically what songs and musicals do. It didn't do that. It's just Arthur and like it was a weird mix of actual songs and songs from the movie, like that were just written originally for the film, and that was wildly inconsistent. And I know we're silver lining, but I would be remiss if before we leave we didn't talk about the cartoon that started the movie.
Oh yeah. What was it? Me and My Shadow? Is that what it was called? It was something to that effect.
Yes. That was the recap for all the people that saw this but didn't see Joker, which I'm guessing is 0 because nobody has seen this one.
Right. Yeah. No, it's completely unnecessary. But what did you guys think of it? I liked it. I did like the cartoon. I actually thought it was very well made, honestly. And even though I do think there's some retconning in this movie about the idea that Joker and Arthur Fleck are different people and what it's getting across, I thought the cartoon effectively retconned the story. Like I understood what we were setting up, like, and why it started it to be like, well, the Shadow is Joker and it did all the crimes and then it left. And now Arthur is here to pay for the crimes that the Shadow did. I very much understood the thesis of the cartoon.
Yeah. And it was a well-made cartoon in the like Chuck Jones, Tex Avery style. So that was good too.
Yep. Liked all of that. Lars, you got any other silver linings?
You know what I like? I like the fact that Foreigner, Ozzy, Tribe Called Quest, and Dave Matthews Band were inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in October of 2024. I'm going to say that's my silver lining on Joker Deux Folie.
Okay. I think we did it.
All right. Yeah, I think we
Question everything.
Question.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashcan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.